Right. Okay. Sorry. I had to start my recording again. I think 2 people were kicked out. I don't know why. But I think they will be able to rejoin in. So let's go back to our page. Let's go on. So for my first rule now from my knowledge of math and all that, your tables, your column is vertical, the row is horizontal. When you're writing your table, coding your table, you code it in terms of your rows. This applies generally to programming, right? When you start to learn your SQL language and all that, that is also done based on rules, right? So my first row has my header, front-end web development, back-end, and then software dev. Right, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next one. Table. Now. For the first row, what you should put is your table header, and then for the next one, what you should put for the subsequent rows, which will not contain the values for your table, what you should add is your table data, right? So I have my table data. So what languages do I have under front-end web development? I have HTML, right? For my back end, I have PHP. What to those who were kicked out, I hope you can join in. I don't know if they're back. Let me just go on. Okay, PHP, and then right, for software we have Python. Now, like I said, the CW Bootcamp is on a crazy journey, and every of these languages will be learned before the year is over. But nearly all of them, because it takes a whole lot to learn language. So the platform's relevance to you is beyond just now. It's just the bootcamp, and we have a Facebook group. From here, there's going to be Telegram is going to be kept open. Okay, somebody has joined back in. Okay, Emmanuel wants to join back in. Right. Okay. Let me go back to my page. Right. So all of these things will be learned. If you go to the website, you see that there are actually courses and all that. And so remain in the Telegram and Facebook groups, and a whole of cool stuff is coming your way, right? Programming and software, web development, all that, right? Let's go to the next row. Let me move very quickly. I'm talking quite much. Table data. Now, next language is CSS. Table data again. Next language is your SQL. The next language is your next language is your let's add Java. Let's add C++. C++. That's the core programming language, software in dev and engineering, right? And for the last row, let's add a new row, right? And let's add a table data. What's the last thing? JavaScript. Right, let's move to the next one. Let's add backend. Let's add a node.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, okay, sorry. I can't really see your code. They are so tiny. I don't know whether I can help us to.
Are you using a phone or system?
No, I'm using the phone. I'm using my system is by my side, so I'm using my phone to do the recording. That they're able to see what you are doing, so that they're able to type it on my system later. Because I'm writing it down, so I'm writing the code down. Then later write it or do it on my system.
Okay, fine. Can you see better? Can you see better now?
It's a bit shrink. Yeah.
I think because I've zoomed in a couple times, right? Let me try one more time. Zoom in, and I've zoomed in. This should be better. This is actually not convenient for me to work on, but I just do it, because you requested for it.
Okay. I think this is much better. This is much better. Huh?
Okay, fine. So once again, let me just put it. Let me put your Java here. Right now, this is to do your table. Open your table tag. Close your table tag. Right. You add things to your table based on your table rows. Right. That's horizontal. Right. The first row on your table should have the table header tag because you're specifying the table header, right? And then you have your table header this, table header this, table header this. Next row should now have your table data because from that point below, you're specifying things that should be below the table, right? Your data. So table row again, table data, table row again, table data, table again, table data. Now let me minimize this and let's check to see its effects on. Yes, and let me do something. A BR is suddenly not working, which is really strange. But let's go on. Now this is my table, right? Now as you can see, can we all see my screen? Can you all see my screen clearly? Is this clear? I need a response, please. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now as you can see, of course, my table headers are pretty long, so let me just reduce that to make it make more sense. That is front develop. That is front dev. Front dev is like short form for back dev. Let's use software dev, right? Let's refresh that, and then you have something that makes a whole lot more sense, right? Now I can keep going and keep adding more to my table. And then I have much more. I just repeated the last two parts, right? Now, so this is my table. This is how to do your table, right? Your table tag and then your table rows and all that stuff. Now, at this point, let me pause a bit and ask you if there are any questions. Are there any questions?
Okay, so I have a question, sir.
Listen.
Okay, so the self-close, there's no, because I've gone through HTML before. Okay, we have a self-closing tag, right?
Sorry, come again.
Okay, we have self-closing tag.
Yes.
So the difference between self-closing tag, I think at the end of the self-closing tag, you don't need to put a slash, right?
No. You don't put a slash. You don't put a slash. Yeah, just close.
Okay. Just close it like that. Those are self-closing tag. What about the one that is not closing tag? You put a slash.
Yes. Yeah. And what I'm saying, this is it. For example, you have your H1 opening tag, and then you have your H1 closing tag. You can see there's a slash, right?
Okay. So that's what of course a closing tag, normal closing tag, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's your closing tag.
Okay. So I'm having a confusion about div and div. That's div.
Okay.
Yeah. Div now. Because I learned HTML, but when I go to the div part now, div part was giving me. I don't know. I thought is div a section you put your code into, but does it really matter in encoding?
Okay. Good question. Now, I think I explained this earlier on, right? Your div.
Sorry, sir.
No, it's fine. Your div allows you to. So I have to minimize this. It's not convenient in a way. Let me zoom out. Sorry. Let me zoom out. Parents zoom out. Yeah. Now, your div basically allows you to. Your div basically allows you to, divide your work into sections, your page into sections. What do I mean? Now look at all I've had to add into my page. my body tag. I've added the H1 tag, my P tag. I've added the link. I've added the list. I've added 3 images, and then I've added the table. And then below the table, I have H2 paragraph, H1 paragraph, H2 paragraph. Right now, if your div is used to take all that plenty mumbo jumbo and put it into categories, so that first of all your work is compartmentalized. Now, what I explained before was, what if, for example, I want to give everything in this first section. This is me trying my HTML H1 tag, and this, I want to give it a red color. Or what if I want to give it a background that is red in color? Right? What if I want to give a background that's red in color? And then I want to give, or let's say I have much more text below, starting from this link, and then I want to give all that is here another background and color. Now, of course, we all know now that adding all those things is your CSS, which you learn tomorrow, right? But it will be impossible to do that without adding your div. Now, so what you need to do is put this first section within a div tag. Open your div tag, close your div tag. Put the next section you want to style differently in another div tag. Like I said, either use your div tag or your section tag. Now, currently in this page, I have 3 div tags, 3 divs or sections and all that. I have the first div, and then I have it's closed at this point. It closed at this point, right? Now, as you can see, I have my table and all that in it. What this means basically is that from this point up until the end of my table, that is one section, right? And then I have another div. I open a new div here, which is for my H2 tag, and P tag, and close my div here, right? So this is another section. And then my final section is, my final section is this third section, right? This, right now, there's one I was going to say before, but I skipped it up until this point. I think I can talk about it now. Sorry, hold on a bit. Okay. Now, when you're building up a web page and you want to style your page, that's add CSS. There are things you use which are called your ID, or which is called your ID or your class. Right now, just you get it in a minute. ID is equals to text section. Now watch this. What I have just done basically. Now, what I have just done basically in this point is to add an ID to my div. Now, you're going to learn much more about this tomorrow. In fact, this is where Oko Hogan is going to start from with you guys tomorrow, right? Now, this stresses the importance of your div, right? Like I said, your div is used to section your work into pages. Section your page, or it's used to split your page into sections, right? Now, you specially add a marker to each div by giving it an ID or a class, right? Now, this is what I mean. I've added an ID. ID equals to first section in your quotation, right? I can add ID is equals to second section, and then ID is equals to your third section. Now, what I have just done is I have successfully, right, and very clearly split my work and my page, because the point is, when you start to code as a web developer, you can have as many as 500 lines. I've had about 700 and something. No, sorry, I've had close to 500, right? I'm sure Oko has had close to that, or perhaps much more than that. and all that, right? I've had also to have 200, between 200 and 250, right? Now, when you have that long line and then you have to like scroll up, down, and up, down, your div or your section tags and then the ID you have given them are what will help you not to run mad, because it is extremely easy to run mad, right? It's extremely easy for your head to go really hot and you just shut down and go to bed and all that, right? Now, I have added markers to my div, by adding IDs. So this is ID first section, ID second section, ID third section, all that, right? And now, what is the function and use of the ID apart from helping to segment my page, right? It is used with your CSS, right? Now, if I want to style my pages specially, if I want to style the first section of first div, right? What I will use to style it is in my CSS is the ID. Now, the reason why your ID is important is because you have several divs. This is div. This is div. This is div. If you put div dash 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 in your CSS, how to interpret it is go to your HTML page, pick all the div tags and slap this style on it. But if it's a color, slap the color. If it's a background color, background image, slap the background image, right? But for specificity, right, you should use your ID. So if I want to target this div specially, all I have to use is the first section ID. Straightforward and simple. I'm going to stop here. I'm getting to CSS already, which is not my thing. Or rather, which is not my area. It is my thing, but not my area. Two different things. Now, so what else do we have to learn? We have looked at now. I want to tell you something. Take the finest page in the world. Take the finest page in the world or finest web page you've ever been to. Take out the CSS. What you're going to have is its HTML skeletal system, and it's going to look exactly like this or worse than this, right? It's going to look like this. This is pure without. This is actually pure without anything, without any CSS, right? Now, CSS is an extremely powerful language or code, right? And it can take even the most insignificant pages, right? There's a website I went to sometime in the past, right? Where what they did was show you, your HTML skeletal system, right? And then, okay, what they did was they developed a skeletal system and put it there, right? And then they invited people, about 10, 20 developers, to come and just apply CSS to that exact same HTML code. And my word, they had first of all, they had very different designs, and they had very shocking designs, right? So what I'm saying is that you guys should look really forward to tomorrow's CSS class with Oko Hogan, right? Now, so strip out Facebook of its CSS, JavaScript, and every other thing. What you're going to have is rubbish. It's going to look really messed up. You're going to have images on top of other images, under text, under name, under someone's picture smiling and all that stuff, right? So what gives your page order is your CSS primarily and your JavaScript, right? Now, let me see if there are any more tags. We are joining up until 8 o'clock. We probably will shoot past 8. Just relax. This, like I said, this class is free, and when you have classes like this, depends on how much you want to get into this. That's web development, all that, So we might shoot past 8 a little bit. Just bear with me. Let me ensure that I cover most of this. Are there any questions in the meantime?
Sir, you said you're going to talk about metadata.
Yes, I already talked about that. Your metadata basically has to.
Exactly.
Metadata has to do with information about your page, which is read by browsers, search engines, index engines, right? I talked about adding your title. I talked about adding your meta chassis. I talked about adding your language and all that, being sources of the metadata. Oko. Hello, Oko.
Yeah.
Yes. Talk about metadata briefly, please. While I check through, talk about metadata briefly. Let me
Okay.
check through.
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
So a meta tag basically gives information to your browser about what your web page is really about. There are different kinds of meta tag. It actually holds technical information about your site. For example, there's a meta tag for that holds your keyword. So search engine usually crawl the web. I think every second, checking through, updating itself and all. Now, when Google search engine crawls through the web and finds your website, it doesn't really know all the styling and tags and all that you have in there. It's really first of all interested in the meta tag, which gives you information about what your website is about. So, for example, if you are selling shoes, and then in your meta tag you have things like shoes, handbags, clothes, maybe Vans, All-Stars, Nike. Now, once the search engine crawls your website and sees those keywords in your meta tag, it basically improves your ranking on Google. So if someone searches maybe shoes in Nigeria or shoes in Owerri or shoes in Lagos, as long as that keyword exists in your meta tag, there's a chance that your site will pop up on Google because that information was in your meta tag. So it basically knows technical details about your website. Things that might not be really useful to the outline or the look of the page, but then to the browser and to the search engine is very important.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Now, very quickly, let me talk about one or two few things as we wrap up for tonight. Now, like I said, your HTML, just like every other code. Hey, okay, thanks, man. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Hold on. We share that. Sorry, I lost power. We'll wrap up in a few minutes, very quickly. Let me just.
Sure.
Yeah, is my screen showing now?
Yeah.
Okay. We have some. Now, okay. So I was going to show us quickly about your bold tag, your B tag, your U tag, and a couple of others like that. Just quickly. Now, if you want to, let's look at our page again. Let me open this. Okay. Now, if you want to, for example, now you want, when you've seen text that involves you making a certain portion bold, right? Now, if your emphasis on what you are saying, you want a particular part of your text to be bold, right now, there are tags that you can add inside tags. I've not talked about that. There are tags you can add inside tags, right? One good example of that, for example, is your image, right? I showed us about the image tag. Well, those who are offline will get to miss on this, but that's fine. Now, I've talked about the image tag. I'm sure we've gone to websites where the image is clickable. You click on the website, a new web. You click on the image, and a new web page opens up, a new different one, right? So you can add tags inside tags. You can embed tags inside tags. One of those is your B tag. Now, let's do a quick example. I want to make paragraph tag bold. So what I'm going to do is put a B tag in there.
All right.
Right, and then refresh. And then you have, can we see the paragraph tag is not bolder? If I want to make much more than that to be bolder, I can stretch it all the way to nowhere. Okay, so yep, and then you have paragraph tag and all that bigger. Another tag you can use inside your tag, which is used specifically for styling, that is your span tag, right? I'll show you this is we talked about tomorrow, right? Let's say, for example, I have this paragraph. This is my paragraph tag, blah, blah, and all that, and then I want paragraph tag, and I am really interested in knowing to be a different color. What I can do is to add what is called a span.
Yeah.
Span, yeah. And then these are just, like I said, this bootcamp, this class tonight is introductory. I have not covered nearly all of the tags, right? And so that is left for you to just go check out and all that. And I have dropped a good number of them, important ones, you come across very often on Telegram, which you can check out, right? Now, so this is our. Let me finally add a footer. Let's just have a footer.
Okay.
This. Is the web footer, right? Now let me take out this because they're extras. Yes, and so we have. Okay, hold on. Check this out. Somebody was asking a question about live server not working. Is that right? Is the person still on?
Don't think so.
Is the person still on? Okay, cool. No problem. Okay, right. And let me give this much more space. Now, I want to tell you guys that no man-made system is perfect, right? And not your text editors are not perfect. Now, I don't know how many of you have noticed previously that at some point my BR, which is for your break, was not functioning, was not working, right?
Yeah.
And the reason for that, it was a simple glitch in my editor. That's the interface between my editor and my browser. That's the live server, right? Because now that I've resetted my system, because I went off before, I'm using the desktop, right? It's working fine now, And so you might, in fact, one of the biggest problems you would have as you get to work and code is that things that things that you have tried before and tried several times and always works, right? You put it in, it doesn't work. I have spent sometime 2 weeks back, and I finished the project and all that, and then something was wrong, just in a particular area. I had gone over it time and time again, right? Honestly, I went over it for about 3 hours, and I got to find the issue after the 3rd hour. It was just all I had to do was erase a line and retype it back. Honestly, that was all I had to do, right? I was working on a project which was, it's a one-page website. You have websites that are many pages, and they have one-page website. One-page websites are websites that, when you click your navigation bar, your menu, it takes you to portions on the page, as opposed to, portions outside, basically, right? And so what I'm saying is that if you feel like what you're doing, there's a glitch, right? If you feel there's a glitch in it, then no question, please just restart. Just save your work and restart your system. Or if not, just close your editor and restart your editor. And a final thing I want to say, which I want to see if I can practicalize. Yes. Now, one of the biggest issues that occurs when you are coding your HTML page is that, right, if you make a mistake in your syntax, right? I've said syntax are basically the rules that govern how you write your code. If you make a mistake in your syntax, it can affect your entire work. Now let's just do it simple practical. That I have taken out. I've made 2 deliberate errors in my code. Okay, this is too easy. I've made 2 deliberate errors in my code, and you're going to see how that is going to affect basically everything, right? So this is to say that when you are coding, and you find out that suddenly you save your work and then things just turn upside down, it's most likely not any fault of yours. It's just probably that you have failed to close a tag or follow the rules and all that, right? Now, I took out the closing tag from my list, right? Which is this list, and what that affected immediately, what it did immediately was to shift everything from, it shifted my images, everything from that point, downwards, and gave it more margin than the rest. So this is not an ordered page, right? Now, when I add that tag back, right, it returns it back, right? Now, this is the list of problems you can have. Take it for someone who has some little experience. This is the list of problems you can have. Other times, this image will just leave its spot and climb up to another one, and you have a whole lot of things superimposed on other, themselves and all that, right? Now, it most likely it's not your code that has issues, but simply the fact that you are making some mistake in what you have written, right? Now, I think we've reached a good point tonight, right? That's introducing to HTML. Any questions as we wrap up? Let's wrap up in a few minutes. Any questions? There's 7 people left. For everyone who has stayed up on this point, it's not a mean thing, right? Any questions? Any final questions to wrap up? Well, everyone is quiet. Hello.
I'm with you.
Yeah, we are here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Nothing, right? Okay. I have just a quick answer.
Probably I'll just I think so far I think the biggest thing probably for me right now is the div section. Probably we just have to, because for me it's one of the biggest elements that we have to work through, even as a developer throughout your entire life, if you want to pursue a career in web development. So I feel like we should take more time, to explain the div tag a little bit, probably tomorrow, just to brush over it. Yes.
Okay, thanks. But I would say that there's honestly nothing big about div tag. Div tag is just div tag, right? Now, what is big about div tag are your applications of it, which I believe will become clear tomorrow when we look at CSS, right? Your div is primarily used for creating sections, right? And then, I've talked about when you add your ID. I didn't talk about when you add your class, right? Now,
yeah.
your ID is used when you want to give special unique identification to each div or to any element. Any element can have an ID. I can give my H1 tag an ID, right? I can put ID. This is it. Your ID name can be anything. You can name your ID name your name. It doesn't matter as long as you put it well, right? Now, so and the logic is this: if you have a web page and you have so many H1s, so many H5s, right? And you don't all want them to look alike. You want H1 to be different from the next H1, different from the next H1. What you have to do is give each H1 a different ID class and then style that exact ID, right? By doing that, you are telling your browsers, right, that element with this unique ID, this is what I want you to slap this style on. It could be a color, it could be a font size, it could be a font type or whatever, right, and all that. One of that quick thing I wanted to show us is just we're wrapping up.
Okay, can I just say anything about the div tag?
Oh, okay, go on.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay, just to make it clear, like you said earlier, there's really nothing special about the div tag. Yes, in your programming journey. You're going to use the div tag over and over again, over 1,000 times. But let's make an analogy now. Let's think about it like a package. If you don't mind, I would like to show. I would like to show you something very briefly.
Okay.
Let me turn on my video camera.
Okay.
So I'm holding a pack.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's think about the div tag like this pack.
Okay.
And in this pack, I can have several things. This is a pen.
Okay.
Let's think of the pen like a P tag.
Okay.
A paragraph. I can have inside of my pack.
Okay.
This is a book.
Okay.
Let's think about the book like a H1 tag. I can have it inside my div. So the div tag is just like a container holding several things together. Or you could use it to separate your. So this is the pack that has my book and my pen. I could have another pack holding maybe my phone and my wristwatch. Do you understand? So the div is just doing one thing. It's like a container holding different things all together. It's just that there's nothing special about it. So when you want to make a particular style too, let's say if you want to style the pack holding your book and your pen, I think you can see the names on it, Ricky's. So let's say the name, the class name or the ID that you give to this div tag is Ricky's. You cannot refer to this name Ricky's and use to style this container and even style the content of the container.
Container. Okay.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. Okay. So quickly. Okay. So I think we've come to the end of today. No more questions, right?
No.
Okay. So tomorrow we would be looking at CSS. CSS is interesting. You do not want to miss it. Now you would be seeing how that all of this ugly skeleton takes on some magical life, right? And takes on some proper shape and all that stuff. I wish I was the one taking CSS, but no, but that's fine. Because that's where the fun part really is.
Fun parties.
Then okay, so I think we've come. I'm looking for something quickly. I think we've come to the end of today's class.
Yeah, my back
now,
is really
like I mentioned earlier, from the 27th of July up until the 5th of August, there is going to be a 10-day crazy bootcamp, and now it's crazy. They are target intermediate / advanced bootcamp, right? But in that, you are going to be coding. You are going to be coding a full website up from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll be handling that. We'll just start from the scratch. Build. We'll have. We'll have an idea of what we want to build. Start. Put up your. Let me open the website. Up your. How you can create this from scratch without stress, right? Add your logo, add your navigation bar, and all this, and then add as many pages you want. Make it interactive and all that stuff, right? So it's going to run for 10 days.
Wow.
We'll be working on 2 website projects. And you're also going to get a certificate, right? Now, certificates are crucial for your advancement as a web developer, right? And the truth is that, while you have some certificates like what you get from Coursera that cost quite some dollars, while you have those that rank quite high in the mind of potential employers and tech companies and all that, software companies, of which, and if you check LinkedIn, there are jobs for front-end developers, back-end developers that come out every day. I get notifications every single day and all that, right? So certificates, it's be a certificate of completion of 2 projects, 2 very good major projects, right? And we'll also be looking at GitHub, how you can set up your GitHub account. Well, the first thing that your potential employers look at when they want to evaluate, you and what you can do is they check your GitHub account. That is why every wise person, every smart person knows that. That's why every smart person knows that, you know, you have to start to populate your GitHub account with repositories. Now, today I wanted to show off one or two projects I have in my GitHub account. You know, but my okay, let me just show us this. But I've forgotten my password. Keep the password. I have to reset that. It'll take a while. I don't want to delay us. You know, I did this cool Marvel stuff and all that. You know, so basically from the 27th up until 5th of August, 10 intensive days, classes every single day. You're going to code 2 projects, and you're going to upload that to GitHub, right? We're going to walk through GitHub. You're going to get a certificate and all that, right? It's not free. It's going to cost 10K, just 10K, right? Yeah, just 10,000 naira. That is some people on this course flexing money for 2 weeks, right? You know, that will get you started as a developer. Okay, this is it. Let me just zoom in. So basically, you know, from the bootcamp, code your website from scratch, right? Code your first website from scratch and all that, blah, 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 blah. There are only 50 slots, right? And it has been taken up, I must admit, right? So, I mean, it can't be more than 50 because anything more than 50 is going to be too much to handle, right? We would be using, I think the Zoom platform or something, right? So, I do encourage you to go for this as well. This class is introductory, and I mean, you know, it's going to introduce you a couple of things, but that one is taking the bull by the horn and getting you quick and fast and running crazily. You code up your websites, and from that point, you can start to work as a freelancer and get money. I mean, getting money is not so difficult when it comes to web development. Every single day, you have about, Google says that every single day you have, Google says that every day you have about close to 1 million websites. You know, I put online every day. So you always have guys saying, "I need a web developer" and all that stuff. So when you get this skill, it's not going to be difficult to make that 10 grand back and a whole lot of other stuff. Right now, so we've come to the end of today's class. It was good having everyone. Kudos to everyone who stayed up until this point. It's not easy, right? But it tells me that you have that drive to get really far in what you want to do, right? Tomorrow we continue 3 to 5 CSS. It is going to be fun. Or will be doing the teaching. I'm going to be here all through because I'm the host of the meeting and all that. My Google Meet account, right? So I'm going to be here all through, but of course we're going to be doing the teaching, and you're going to see how you can start to use your CSS, and then Sunday will be cutting everything up with your JavaScript. Right? And Sir Godfred Archer is a crazy man. He's a software. I am a web developer, but he's a software engineer. There are levels to this thing. I would be a software, developer soon. By the way, that's going to happen. But he's a software engineer and all that. He has some crazy experience and all that. He's been a mentor. Google Summer of Code, Start Innovation Hub, hotels. Hotels.ng, the same person that owns hotels.ng, same person that owns your HNG internship. So hotels.ng internship, software internship program and all that, right? So he's going to be handling JavaScript. 3 o'clock to 4:30, and then 5 to 7 we have the practical session. 3 to 4:30 discussion Telegram. 5 to 7 practical session. Google Meet, and then 7 to 8 we wrap up the bootcamp, and then hug ourselves goodbye to hopefully see ourselves on the 27th, right, for some crazy work that would kickstart you fully 100%. Yeah, so thank you once again everyone for staying up until this point. It was good having you, right? If there are no more questions, yes, can I give an assignment, please, just quickly? Now, I'm going to drop this link, this first website, as we can see, this first website that was ever developed. I'm going to drop the link on Telegram. Yeah, I want you to attempt it. You can do better, I'm sure. You can add your image, you can add all that stuff. That's fine. But I want you to at least replicate this design, right? And so we have 7 people online. I'm going to note your name. I'm going to take a screenshot of your names right now. I'm going to take screenshots on my Mac. Boom, screenshots. Let me start my phone, right? Okay, right. So attempt it, do it, and surpass it, and let me see. So when we come on early tomorrow, let's say from minutes to 5, first we'll just do is to check. For those using laptops, you just share your screen, briefly and all that, and we'll just check it out. Assess you, and then start with CSS. Yeah. So everyone have a great night. Thank you for staying as well.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Good night.
Yep. Good night. Oko, thank you so much. It was good having you, man. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.